Hi, welcome to Star Talks, where we walk the walk. Now today we have such a beautiful setting where we have our lovely guest, Thabo Moloi, who is the founder and managing director of Ebozi. He is a digital content creator doing the things in the media space. He's also the founder of Langa Soleil, which is a beautiful classic watch brand. And you might have seen his face on a beautiful yellow billboard of Time Bank. Thabo, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Yo, what an introduction. But thank you so much. Really excited to be here. Love the work that you're doing. I've seen some clips of some interviews, so I feel the pressure. It's like the hot seat. Some highly accomplished people that have talked to you. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, for people who don't know Thabo, who would you describe yourself as?
Yo, I'm just a simple cheetah from a township called Vosloorus in the East Rand. That's where I grew up. And I just love business. I love what it does in terms of helping people, creating opportunities. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart. As you have mentioned, I run a number of businesses. But more than that, I would describe myself as a lifelong learner. I believe that as an entrepreneur, all you're doing is taking what you've learned and finding commercial viable ways to really make means with that. So I view myself as a lifelong learner, just a cheetah from the township who enjoys business.
Wow. Now you mentioned township.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up? Can you tell us a bit more about how you grew up? Yeah.
So I grew up in Vosloorus. Funny enough, Ebozi is actually a colloquial slang for Vosloorus. So people from Vosloorus, when they say I'm from Vosloorus, they say I'm from Ebozi. I really took that and made it the name of our company. And because, my upbringing has, played a big part in my outlook. Came from humble beginnings like most South Africans who come from a township, but you learn to make do with what you have, and I was fortunate enough to have parents who believed in me. My mom is a policewoman, so she instilled discipline, the fear of God, and a belief in me, which helped me become the person I am today, being resourceful. Also, when you're surrounded by people who don't have, you learn to appreciate the little that you do have.
Sure.
And you don't take it for granted, So being afforded an opportunity to go to school is something that I never took lightly. I always prided myself in my education, and that has paved the path for me to be able to work in big corporate organizations who have actually given me my entrepreneurial foundation.
Wow.
So I don't think I would have been able to be the entrepreneur I am today if it wasn't for the little values instilled as a kid that enabled me to go to schools and work in these organizations that helped me then build the businesses.
Sure. Wow, that's amazing. I love how you embrace the township and the fact that Ebozi is what Vosloorus is called. So whenever people, say, okay, we want to work with Thabo, what's the name of the company? Ebozi. People that know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Vosloorus. Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting to see, how the company has grown in terms of the clients that we've worked with, and having people from Vosloorus saying, that's us, because even with the watch brand, I wanted something that shines a positive light to these spaces. Because whenever people speak about townships, it's got negative connotation, and rightly so. There are social, economic challenges, right? But there's also very beautiful things that can come out of these spaces. So, it's with great pride whenever we see clients give us good feedback, because for me, it's representing Vosloorus, and even with the watch brand, we wanted to say actually luxury, beautiful, crafted timepieces can come out of these spaces. I take Vosloorus everywhere I go with me, because it has helped me become who I am.
Sure. Now, I want to just touch on the corporate organizations that you work with. I know you were in the banking industry. Can you just tell us a bit more about that? Did you see yourself venturing off into that after university? How long were you planning to be in banking or in the corporate world? Yeah.
So yeah, with regards to banking, so my corporate career actually starts out in corporate finance. So when I graduated from university, I was fortunate enough to join a company called Merchant Tech Capital, which is a designated advisor and sponsor to the JSE, Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So equity research, corporate finance, that's how I got introduced to the world of work. As a business developer there, helping the company grow and find new business opportunities. And then from there, I decided that, you know what, this red race is a bit much, you know, because I was thrown into the deep end and I felt like this pace is too much for me to handle. I needed something where I can grow and develop at a pace that I was more comfortable with. So I joined a graduate program with Unilever. And also it was a fresh start because I was living in Johannesburg all my life.
Yeah.
And it was time for me now to be my own man. So when the opportunity came for me to relocate to Durban, I was like, hey, my old lady, this is what's up. And she was like, nah, I give you my blessing. So I joined Unilever where I worked there for about 5 years.
Wow.
I joined a department called Customer Development, which is pretty fancy for sales.
Sure.
Basically, we manage the relationships with the big customers, the big retailers, the big wholesalers that Unilever distributes its products through. And then from there, like you say, I was headhunted by Investec, where I became a senior acquisition banker, helping very wealthy people build their wealth and grow their balance sheets. What's interesting though is I didn't study banking or anything finance related.
What did you study?
So I did a degree called entrepreneurial management with an I, not with an E. So entrepreneurial management is basically corporate venturing, where you learn about how you can help established businesses innovate internally and how they can apply entrepreneurship concepts within already established businesses. So that's what I studied.
Wow. That's in university?
In university.
Wow.
Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur somewhere along the line.
Somewhere along the line.
But I needed to get that corporate experience first, get that grounding first. So yeah, I became a banker for 3 years. Amazing experience, you know. I've been fortunate, you know, a lot of people when they leave organizations, it's the majority of the time disgruntled, you know, if we're being honest. But I've been very lucky where I've always left on a good footing to pursue better opportunities. And even leaving Investec, it was tough because I was doing very, very well. You know, I was doing very well, and it's an organization that takes really good care of its people. So I didn't leave there because, hey, it's in cartel. But I really felt a calling, a really strong entrepreneurship calling to now establish my own things using this knowledge that I've accumulated.
Wow, that's such a colorful career, actually. You know, it's the first time I'm hearing that you actually work for Unilever through the graduate program. Yeah, that's so awesome. Now, with that, it's so nice to just hear how your career and your experience was different to what you studied, but you also, even though you were in corporate, you still had that in the back of your mind that, no, I still want to be an entrepreneur. Now, what I want to know and what I think the viewers at home want to know is, at what point now did you then say, okay, cool, I'm really happy at Investec, I'm killing it here, but I think now I'm ready to start venturing off into my calling of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so it was an interesting year. So yeah, like you say, I always knew that I want to venture into this thing. And even throughout my career, I was doing smallanyana side hustles. You know, so throughout my career, I was either selling something or offering a service, trying to, you know, nurture this passion and also keep myself sharp. In terms of what I'm learning in the workspace and also what I'm learning in the marketplace that can apply in the workspace, you know? So that, you know, continuous hustle, you know, led me to a point whereby I made a lot of mistakes and things failed, so many times. But those failures then build this tenacity and thick skin where you get to a point where you're like, okay, I have failed, I have made the mistakes. I think now I'm in a space mentally, because psychologically it's a challenging thing.
Hey.
It's a daunting thing, right? So, I read a lot of books, did a lot of meditation until mentally I felt like, okay, I'm in a mental space where I can take on this gruesome task of now standing on my own 2 feet without the backing of a full-time job.
Sure.
The other thing is that spiritually, I was also in an interesting space.
Sure.
The year I quit my job is the year where I lost my dad, right? And you can only confront the fragility of life until someone close to you dies. Where it's like, we only have this one life. We only have this one life. And if we don't use these opportunities to really see how much of ourselves we can be, then we're only going to live lives that are half-lived at most, right? So that painful experience was also an illuminating experience to be like, there are things that you're passionate about, and there is a calling on your life. And if you don't trust this passion and this calling, you're going to wake up one day regretting, wondering if I had taken this chance, But thirdly, I think being a banker also helped.
Sure.
Because you're working with money. So it's not a decision that I took blindly.
Sure.
It's something where I, from an early age, was taught to be very frugal with money.
Sure.
So that by the time I was a banker, I was financially intelligent and financially literate enough to understand how you need a lot of capital to see you through the many rainy days. So I did research around failure rates and SA, the run rates you need, how much capital to put you through. And when I had put together that little fund, put together the fund, mentally was ready and had that life-changing experience, that's when I took the plunge.
I hope you guys can hear that, because it sounds like quite a bit you need to do to prepare for entrepreneurship. Wow, that's so beautiful how you shared that the same year that you ventured off into entrepreneurship was the same year that your dad passed on.
Yeah.
What other things did you learn from your father, while he was alive? Did you attribute any of that to entrepreneurship?
Sure. A lot. It's the small things, that when you look back, realize they play such an important part in who you become, When I first started school, my dad taught me how to polish my shoes. So I remember the memory very well. Took me outside, like, okay, my boy, this is what you do, all right? Showed me how to brush my shoes. And he said, a man's shoes tell a lot about a man. Not only who he is today, but where he's going, right? So from that early wisdom, I always learned how to dress, not only for where I was, but for where I was headed, and polish my shoes every day, made sure that they can question everything about you, but they should never question how you look. You should always take pride in how you look, because when you look the part, you gain the confidence to be the part.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So looking the part, even if upume Vosloorus and you go to a white school, but because you look the part, you gain the confidence to be the part, to show up in class, to ask the questions, to be all that you can be, My dad also taught me to ride a bike. Right? He got me my first bike and I was so scared. And it was embarrassing because when you buy a bike, it comes with the little support wheels, right? And he was like, nah, you're a big boy. Why are you still riding with the support wheels? He's like, no, we're gonna go outside. I'm gonna teach you how to ride a bike, and got on the bike and he pushed me, right? I thought he was gonna guide me, push me, and I fell, right? And I cried. And I said, I don't wanna do this, give this bike away. He's like, no ways. Like you're gonna get on the bike. I don't care how many times you fall, but you're gonna get up and you're gonna learn to ride the bike.
Sure.
Because I promise you, if you ride the bike, all the times that you had fallen are gonna be more than worth it.
Wow.
So from that encounter, I learned how important it is to embrace the falling. Because it makes the ride that much more meaningful.
Sure.
Because now the scars tell a story of who you've become.
Sure.
You know, so
Sure.
it's those moments that as a kid might seem insignificant, but later on when you grow, you realize just how important those values are in your journey and how you've become the person that you are.
Wow. I think I need a moment to just soak in everything you said.
Yeah.
The very first one about your shoes. I wish the camera could actually show your shoes. Because this guy is dressed to the nines, top to bottom. And I can definitely see like the way that you take care of yourself.
Sure.
And the way that you present yourself as a very high quality person who's going out there into the working space and the working world as somebody to be like looked up to, you know. Even with Langa Soleil, you can see that.
So part of the inspiration behind the brand was that. You know. I've always been I've always had a passion for watches. I've always liked what they represented. You know. I'm a stickler for time. So my team, you know, sometimes I don't get it right, but I try to always be on time. You know, because I mean, money you can make and lose, but time, once it's gone, right? So there's that aspect of time, but there's also just the confidence a timepiece gives, you know? And I wanted to create a brand whose values epitomize, you know, what I believe if you are to become someone one day, you know, you ought to hold very close to you, you know? Values like ambition. You know, seeing where you're headed and envisioning that with a clarity of belief to say, you know what, irrespective of what now looks like, it might be dark, load shedding or not, but the prospects, you know, I believe that I'm on a journey, you know, so we wanted a watch that really tells a story, you know, so and also about perseverance. So the name of the watch is Langa Soleil. So basically, I was in a very dark place in my life where doors were closing left, right, and center. You know, so a lot of our income comes from other businesses, right? So we run a business-to-business organization, and when lockdown hit, all right, a lot of businesses said, sorry, have to cut this contract, have to cut this opportunity. And I found myself in a place where opportunities were gone, right? And where previous year, the business was thriving. So we were projecting growth. So we made big bets based on that. So when lockdown hit, all the investment that we had put in got wiped out, right? And you find yourself on ground zero, having to start afresh. And I remember in a very dark space, you know, looking outside, thinking, what am I going to do? And as I was just thinking, I just caught a glimpse of the sun. And I thought to myself, you know, no matter what happens, the sun keeps rising. Like, the clouds can gather, it can be gray, but the storms eventually run out of rain. But one thing that is true is that the sun keeps rising, right? And I thought to myself, I left corporate to do this, but I left it wanting to pursue things I'm passionate about. And one of the things is leaving a legacy, building brands that really epitomize what I believe, you know, the township can be known for and the opportunities it can create. And I said, I'm going to build a watch brand. And I called it Langa. Langa is Zulu for sun. But I wanted something that has international appeal. I said, this is going to be a local brand, but I see it being sold all over the world. So I added Soleil. Soleil is actually French for sun. So it's Langa Soleil. And the tagline is keep rising. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's when you wear the watch. Also, we wanted to create quality. So we didn't just, let's launch a brand. We did the research. I am a watch aficionado, vele. So I knew if I'm going to start a watch brand, the quality and the intricacies that I wanted to have. So did a lot of research, and it was scary. You know, it still is, because it's not a cheap business to start. But we were like, no, we're going to do this and we're going to do it right. And I always tell the team, we 10 months into a 10-year plan.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
And yeah, so we built an online platform where we sell the watches online, did the whole social media thing. And it's been a great experience because internally I was going through what I wanted the watch to represent. So I had to keep rising. I had to find my sunrise. I had to find my sunlight, and also then build a brand that other people can use to not only look good, but also find, you know, that perseverance in themselves to keep rising.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. Wow, wow, wow. Now you mentioned the difficulties with lockdown.
Yes.
And what that brought about. How did you manage to navigate through that time? So let's say now, take us back to when you first heard, okay, South Africa is going to go under lockdown because there's this coronavirus, COVID-19, and these are the changes that are going to take place.
Yeah. So with Ebozi, it's a business development company.
Sure.
It's a business development company, and we have 3 major divisions.
Yeah.
We have a change management product.
Sure.
So we do change management for factories of large, fast-moving consumer goods company, where we help them cascade change from senior level all the way down to the shop floor. The second thing that we do is training.
Sure.
All right. We build training programs, we facilitate training workshops, and we design training, bespoke training solutions for organizations, where we work with enterprise supply development programs to help them train entrepreneurs within their supply chain.
Sure.
The third part of the business is a media consultancy. So we run a media consultancy where we create and curate content for ourselves, but we also create and curate content for small businesses, which helps them in their digital marketing. So similar to these setups where you've got a Stha who's doing content, we also shoot and put together those kinds of content for small businesses, right? So those were our major part of the business. So when lockdown hit, we had already lined up opportunities, right? And when you're running a business, how you manage your working capital is very important, right? You don't spend until the opportunity is there.
Yes.
All right. So, but with working capital, the clients will only pay you, let's say 3 months, 2 months, depending on the trading terms that you have. Right. Working capital 101 entrepreneurs. So what happened was when lockdown hit, right, we had already committed in terms of payment in anticipation that 3 months, 2 months down the line, you know, we'll start invoicing. When lockdown hit, these opportunities then get taken away, but you've already committed spend. So it's a double whammy. You've committed spend, right? Sunk cost. Secondly, revenue is not coming in, all right? So financially, that's quite a stressful situation to be in, I had to quickly, luckily for me, I am very risk averse, interestingly enough. So whenever I do take risks, it's extremely calculated. There's always a safety fund. There's always a plan B, worst case scenario. So I did have a little bit of money to see me through. But what I didn't have money for was to take care of the people that I had brought on. So that was the hardest thing. But I'm blessed to have people close to me who believe in the vision so much so that they said, listen, even if you can't pay us, we still believe in what you're building and
Sure.
still want to be a part of it.
Sure.
I don't think psychologically I would have been able to survive if I didn't have that kind of support
Wow.
structure. You know, there's nothing in life, especially in entrepreneurship, as important as the people you surround yourself with.
Hey.
Whether it's people close, family and
Sure.
friends, whether it's distant mentors that you read or watch on podcasts and videos, but you need to surround yourself with that positivity, yeah? Because financially, as an entrepreneur, that was the hardest thing to deal with, right? Also, mentally, it was a hard hit. I lost a lot of confidence in myself because when clients go, they also go with a lot of confidence that you put in that business transaction.
Sure,
You know, I
sure.
placed a lot of my personal confidence in these clients. And when you lose that, you start questioning your own ability. Can I really do this? You know, am I really cut out for this? You know, and went through a phase where I was like, I don't think I can do this. You know, I don't think I can survive this. You know, and if it wasn't for people around you saying, you can see this through. All right, just keep on making content. Just keep on putting yourself out there.